put some rules out there, and should it be voted on, should it become a statute? Let the politicians follow what we're doing, and just make it happen. Let's,
Like a work group, it's,
okay, I will.
Would that violate the sunset law if you and I are on the same work group?
No, as long as you're only talking about the work group things in
Don't mention that.
Are there any other issues that,
I just have one. From the retail perspective, and I think what you just brought up might address it, but originally I was hoping it would be something that would come from the department. It would be nice if the end producers had a badge, a seal, their registration number, what you're talking about.
US Census Authority, check that, we just launched a BJ.
Because
It's not the same thing.
I get so many calls, I'm making this, I'm making that, like, there's no way I'm gonna sell anything that I don't know is legitimate at all the levels that we're talking about. So as far as the end consumer goes, I will check that out, but it also, I think, that's another level. If I saw, you know, the department seal, that's like a no-brainer for me. I mean, that's one of our criteria. I mean, grown in Colorado, registered with the Department of Agriculture, but it's more visible from a producer to the retailer to be able to, you know, check that.
If you have a CDA marketing asset on your finished product.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
Is there any other?
so this really, not that it affects us as much as it does actually affect our markets division.
Right,
Cause there's Colorado Proud.
yes.
And they're
Mhm.
sitting there trying to figure out at the
Yes.
same time, boy, we get emails at least once a week. That
That's
says, boy, this,
huge
this,
difference.
this customer, do you know anything about him? So they required a THC test to make sure that the product that is Colorado Proud is under E.3. Our problem is we don't register the producer.
Right,
So I don't have any link to them. I have, oh yeah, I talked to that guy at a conference, and that's all that we have.
it's highly subjective.
So,
Keep Colorado proud on that now?
Yep,
Okay.
Get that memo.
So-
3 years
Show
ago.
us markets.
Wayne, this,
Signs.
oh, I'm sorry.
no, so to figure out
right.
where that jurisdiction
And
is,
where the
how
label
do we?
comes from, like, how many people touched it as well? Like,
So if-
okay, what if, you know, you grew it fine, but then you didn't dilute it properly and so forth, so. We also only sell things that are third-party tested, but again, you
No, we
know,
appreciate you raising
badges
the
go
issue.
a long way for legitimacy.
Yeah, I think within, one element, just because it's new and as Grant was indicating, there's a number, part of that would be the CDPHE register. Because again, where custody ends, that CDA is kind of at the growth of the test, then, we
That
take
has to
over on
be the
it.
case, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's, to your point, aligning with traditional food laws. I think there needs to be a recognition of why we're aligning with traditional food laws. There's an aspect of it that is brand new and we have to navigate the newness of that to get to a point, whether it's next year, 2 years, or 5 years down the road, where we're comfortable, where when you say corn and carrots, you can add the comma hemp and whatever products come with that. We're not there yet. We're not trying to not be there, but there's just other considerations that we're working on that are unique. But I think the uniqueness of it can be managed with sort of these sort of work groups and these interactions for us to have a better understanding of the challenges that we have.
I just think self-regulation is super important. And that's
It's
why
in any industry.
The US Hemp Authority is a bit late coming on, but I know a lot of the major firms in CBD with the US Hemp Roundtable, which was where it was spun out of, are getting this certification. And we're gonna be marketing it. We need to instill that consumer confidence and then also be marketing it to other businesses to say, hey, you want this seal.
Your production and your interactions on a day-to-day basis are your assurance. Ours is a check of that assurance. That's all it is.
So there's a way to bridge what's going on the front end of growing with Department of Ag and the back end processing with CDPHE. And if the farmer is involved with transporting his product to a processor, you fill out the form, you must include the CDA number, the registration number, so you know where the hemp was grown, the farmer that grew it, it was tested, or the CDA had authority to test it. It was harvested properly. It's being transported to a processor on the same form. You've got to put in the the CDPHE compliance number to that lab where it's going to. So it's where the two agencies are now working together with the same tracking document. So that hemp grown on this farm gets transported to this processor, and it's full disclosure for everybody, including the consumer that takes the final product, because they can trace it back all the way to the farmer. So it's a way that the two agencies automatically become linked with the, you know, the push of a button where you fill out the application, you got the CDA license number, you got the CDPHE compliance number, and everything's tracked and it's beautiful.
Have you ever filled out a manifest in metric? Because that's what you just described.
Exactly.
There you go. So you just combine it.
All you gotta do is follow the same thing you said.
And you don't wait for the statute to come out. We just try to implement it as best as we can between the agencies. And sure, there's red tape, but it's just making a stand, moving it forward, and then we let the politicians do whatever they do to get involved and make it trickier.
Maybe we should wait for USDA to chime in and come this summer.
You know, that's a great
I mean,
idea.
like, we've got a lot of stuff just with our own admin issues that I think we should be focusing on here. As I've talked with Dwayne about on some other issues, USDA is gonna come in, and there's probably gonna be some sort of harmonization with THC testing, different protocols. And I think if we start putting a bunch of bandwidth into this, we may just be doing it all for naught.
Well,
I thought you
think of
just said
this.
self-regulate.
USDA, Department of Transportation, DEA, everybody's wondering what to do. And if we wait for any
Exactly.
agency to get involved, we're just kicking the can down the road. What I'm suggesting is being proactive, work together to put some rules and regulations out there, get the people of Colorado to comply. And if the federal government comes up with new rules and regulations, fine. At least we're attempting to have transparency, traceability, and formalities of processing industrial hemp from the farm into consumer products.
I understand that.
I do need to take, any final comments, Alfonso, because we need to, wrap up the meeting. This room is actually gonna be, used at 1:15, so, we need to wrap up the meeting, and then, the committee members will stay for lunch, and then, that will be a public meeting, so, there won't be any more. Alfonso, wait, Alfonso, we have one more comment from Alfonso.
Hold on, we're not done yet.
I'll do, it's gonna be short. December the 13th, in Washington.
If everybody can hear what Alfonso has.
I cannot hear him.
We're gonna have, I belong to a rural coalition organization that's been 50 years. And we're having our annual meeting, and we have a whole half a day concerning the bill on hemp, okay? We're gonna discuss it, see what the when it goes through, what some of the requirements are. We're gonna need our input. If anybody has any inputs that you would like me to forward or to carry with me so that we can be addressed as Colorado. And, so that's basically all I wanted to.
Do you want them to direct it directly towards you? Do you want
Hey,
your email address?
They can email it to you and you can forward it to
Okay,
yourself.
so
That
you
way
can
you'll
email
have
it to me and I'll
record.
forward it to Alfonso.
That's
So
December
that-
13th?
But it's, I'm gonna be there the 12th, 13th, and 14th, but half a day, the morning, the 13th, it's gonna, the Department of Ag's gonna be there, a representative from the Department of USDA, and some of the congressmen that's actually pushing the bill.
Sorry.
The whole farm bill, not only the hemp bill, it's part of the hemp bill, farm bill.
All right.
What dates is that?
What's this?
What dates is that?
The December the 13th is when I'm gonna be, we're gonna have that meeting, with the USDA and some of the concerning hemp.
What's the name?
It's Rural Coalition.
Is it open to the public or just you guys?
It's gonna be in Washington DC,
Oh,
yeah,
DC.
the meeting will just be
That's right.
with us doing the inputting.
Okay.
Because we've been working on the hemp, thing as a real coalition now that New Mexico is trying to pass, legislation on hemp.
They did pass it.
So,
One more thing I'm gonna say, that Graham kind of mentioned about how a lot of things may change with the USDA. I do wanna let you know that, we have had a number of federal agencies that have reached out to us, including the USDA, to find out and try to get up to speed in preparation for what they believe will be a passage. It's not to say they rubber stamp what we're doing, that's not, we're trying to understand the hemp industry, they're trying to play some serious catch up. Jeff?
I would just say
And
that-
mainly on the, and one of the biggest discussions that we're gonna have is the financing and the release of, like FSA, you can't borrow, you can't grow anything that's going, that is all gonna change. So we're gonna be able to go to the bank and borrow money to do a plan. And now we have to, that's gonna be the biggest thing that I can see, and I'm gonna try to have some input on that also.
We have a representative from the insurance industry here too, so he's been listening and dialing into, all the underinsured issues that are going on.
The whole industry is very underinsured, very.
Thanks, Maureen. I was just gonna say to echo Dwayne's comment, FDA has had some inquiries to us too, to have some understanding. I think to Graham's point earlier, it's how far do you get in front of it, and see what sort of reactions you have to that. FDA and USDA weighing in on it deals with some of the transportation issues you're describing, but does it resolve all of them? I'm not sure, but the fact that FDA has, reached out to me and the questions have more depth to them, than just wondering what we're doing, but trying to understand more, I think, sort of, has some implication that there's some federal movement.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that insight. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you to our advisory committee. Really, I think we did covered a lot of ground in 3 hours, I would say.
Thank you, CDA.
Thank you.
Thank you, advisory members.
Okay, so the advisory